Jesse Hughes, welcome to the show.
Hey,
Been a little bit, and I think I need to say congratulations publicly to you to be a married man. If you haven't seen it, there's some wonderful pictures on your Facebook page. They were shot so well, and they're awesome.
thank you, brother. My wife is my life.
I love to see that. I like to see a smile. You've had a couple bumpy years handling a lot of things. You've been juggling a lot. So
Quite a few years actually, and in the most unexpected way. You never you just can't predict something like Phoenix. Phoenix is my wife.
yeah,
She's honest to God, one of the most incredible persons I've ever known in my life, and the fact that she decided she was cool with marrying me was nothing short of winning the lottery. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, Not only is she the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my life, she's the most beautiful human I've ever known. And her whole family's wonderful. I mean, the things that she's allowed me and inspired me to accomplish and encouraged me to accomplish are Herculean. I did drugs every day for 25 years. I quit cold turkey. That's a big
nice.
one. That,
Congrats.
that's a big one. And I couldn't be more happy getting me back on track, so I'm able to focus on music, preparing to make a new Eagles record. Uh, all of these things are grand joys and continuance of the dream. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Speaking on the record,
There's been
I guess
speculation.
there's a lot of. I'd like to leave this. I like to keep the speculation burning, but we
Okay.
have a secrecy pact. But I will say that it's high time for a new record. It's also very important to me to make a new record especially after the events of 11 years ago in Paris.
Right.
I The world needs a new Eagles of death metal record, and I'm gonna. But we very historically take our sweet ass time. I think it was like 8 years between records between the last
It's been
records.
a hot minute, like the kids say. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, it's all. It seems, yeah, 'cause you being clean, you being totally focused on music, and clearly the goal is Eagles, and you're more focused right now. That's all anyone can ask for,
Well, like I
And
always say, now that I have more time to think and a brain that's more committed to thinking, because I steal from the greatest artist of all time, this will be the greatest record ever made because I will steal the greatest songs ever recorded. And we're also we keep ourselves busy. It's the 20th anniversary of Death by Sexy. We're going to tour that around the world,
oh,
um,
cool.
which we're very fortunate to have a sold out tour on that album alone. Um, I'm intending, more movie scores and a couple collaborations with a couple friends of mine that I'm really, really excited about. Again, all secrecy.
But the fact you're
But
doing all this stuff is just great to hear, honestly, Jesse, because like you've been so all over the place with so much going on. You jump on stage, you have jammed over the years, you do your own stuff. You go see shows. You were working on, you're doing some, taking care of Tuesday with the health issues, and you're just doing a lot of different stuff. I
you
mean,
know, t-
so you're more
today was a
focused
big
now.
with Tuesday. Today was a big day because we established her medical trust today. So we're going to start getting some treatments for her that are going to be life returning for her. She's making incremental improvements every day. Every day she's improved. She's surrounded and completely immersed in the people that love her. My wife is got such a unique relationship with her. It's really just it's in and of itself. It's been an incredible thing to witness. Watching how she is with her and how she cares for her. I mean, just in the amount of love that I'm able to witness. I know this sounds corny, but I'm like rich. I'm the wealthiest because I get to be in a constant state of witness to the greatest loves that could ever exist on so many fronts. My best friend Joshua overcame some health issues. That was a big
Mhm.
issue for me. Um,
One thing with you is, and it's always been, I don't know, makes people, sometimes controversial, sometimes not. Everything you do is usually 100% on your heart is on your sleeve, and sometimes it's maybe more emotional, focused on one thing. Sometimes it gets you in trouble, but
yeah,
but you might mean something different. Is what I'm saying. I'm not getting controversial. I'm saying you're always 100% appreciating in the moment and feeling it. So it doesn't sound silly you saying this stuff because you do appreciate. You live in the moment. So this sounds like you. This is, you know. It sounds
Well,
great for you.
I always try to be. I want everyone. Whatever you see is what I really am. There's never really been a facade with me. That's kind of been like maybe one of my main strengths, and sometimes uh, a liability. But I don't really care about that. Um, I love what I do. I love eternally blessed. I can't wait to get on this tour that I'm doing. Something I did recently that was really awesome that I can't wait to get back to was the Celebrating Bowie tour. It's one of my favorite things on earth.
Yeah.
Um, an all-star cast of artists where I met Alex Greenwald from Phantom Planet,
Hmm.
whom I absolutely adore and absolutely love this man. And we just recently went and saw Supergirl, which includes an Eagles of Death Metal song, and that was my favorite part of the movie. Just like rock and roll. Rock and roll doesn't follow the rules of physics. It's escape. It's a portal that you can escape into. I've been really obsessed with Roxy music again. I mean, I go in these cycles of obsession, uh, and Roxy music, and then I've discovered these live recordings of Black Sabbath from 1974 that have just been absolutely. I've become obsessed with them because you're able to see how insanely incredible Black Sabbath was
Hmm.
and how unbelievably perfect Ozzy Osbourne's vocals were. I mean, if you get a chance, it's live in
Is it on
Pittsburgh.
YouTube? Because I'm getting a lot of feeds of that old stuff on my YouTube feed. A lot of
Yeah,
Black
it's on
Sabbath live
YouTube.
stuff. Yeah, yeah.
It's Pittsburgh 1974 and National Acrobat. And even though it's recorded from way back in the audience, this is another thing that makes it so endearing to me. It's so far back in the audience. It's a shitty recording. You can hear all the audience in front of it, and no matter what obstacle is placed in for it before it, the music reigns supreme. It comes out, and you cannot deny it. It's undeniable, and it's so heavy hitting and so relevant and so pertinent and so incredible that it becomes absolutely undeniable. And that's not true of a lot of band. You can hear almost any band, any one of even Jimi Hendrix. If it's a shitty recording, it's hard to get past it. It's
Hmm.
very distracting. This Nothing can distract you from how badass Black Sabbath is, and it's
Well, you think it's because it's a good band, though? I mean, like a good band, they're all good. They set each other up. Like, I mean, the bass playing users and Bill Ward on drums and his swing playing, and then the bass playing sets up Tony guitar. Like, it all works together in a way that it's not just you know what I'm saying. It's not just one machine. It's
it's
all these
unique.
guys working together.
It's unique, but Bill Ward, especially in this recording that I'm talking about, is.
He's
I was on my
ridiculously good.
Instagram live the other day watching it. I was listening to it with my viewers, and Ozfest, the Ozfest Instagram account came on, and I was like, "Oh my god, listen to this!" And it was like this beautiful, like sort of like stamp of approval. But everyone I turn on to it, when they go listen to it, I get these responses back of like, dude, it sort of sits in its own world. It's like its own little example of something very special and very magic that we, ever since we lost Ozzy, may he rest in peace forever, um, and then in glory. Ever since we lost him, a lot of us have been returning and revisiting Black Sabbath and Ozzy and all the different incarnations. But it it does revive a new sense of attention into how truly unique and special Black Sabbath and Ozzy were. I mean, his voice may have gotten strained at different points of his career, but this particular show is so good. It's so good. It's like they're unstoppable.
Hmm.
It's so incredible that it's awe-inspiring, even from some shitty homemade recording made from someone's pocket recorder, like probably at the 50th row of whatever they're watching this show at in the stadium. It's a study. It's a true academic study in music, really. I mean, so I can't wait to see what you think when you listen to it, dude, because it's
I'll see
really.
if that's one. Yeah, I'll check it out. I, it's funny to think back now because no one had phones. So like back then, the gear to set up. Even when you had the first VCRs, you had the thing, the tape. You had the other thing to hang over like a big metal pocketbook
Oh
just to
yeah,
do it. Yeah. So that was just VHS. This is before that. What were they using? Like a film crew to do bootleg? Like think
I
about it. Like
actually
what?
have I have some of the bootleg here. In
No, no.
fact,
Think how they did it. Is it video too, or just audio?
No, this is just audio, but
Okay,
there's normally
that's a
back
little different.
then, even at that time, the video and the audio were recorded separately.
Yeah,
So it was a sync track. Now I'll show you one of the devices that was commonly used to do these things. Hold on, I'm in the dark for a minute. Now I'm in the light. So where is it at?
start
Okay.
bragging them back to shows.
This is a Nakamichi field recorder. You see this device, you see the front of it.
Yep.
It's a cassette
Wow.
with
What's that weigh? Like 20 pounds, probably. Nice and
dude, it's heavy.
you're not
It's
sneaking
heavy.
that in your t-shirt.
No, you would have to like, and it's got XLR and I mean it's
Yeah.
beautiful. You everything's adjustable, everything's calibratable. Um, and then in the front, it's got a right mic, a left mic, and a blend mic.
Oh, okay.
And it's got Dolby noise reduction. It's got, I mean, it's really got quite a few things in it, and it's got a headphone input. That's the Nakamichi. Now, as things advanced, some people would take in like a Tascam multi-track recorder,
I had one of those.
like
Uh,
this one,
one of the. Oh yeah.
the Mini
I
Studio, which is one of my favorites to
I
use.
actually think I had that one or something very similar. One of the versions.
But even more simply, something that somebody would use would be this is an excellent example. This is the Phonotrix,
Oh wow.
and you have to hand wind the tape. You have to the tape is hand added, and then the Essex is another one. This one actually has a little carrying case. You can see the little carrying strap, and then you open it up, and this is what's inside with a little
Holy,
speaker built in.
that is too rad looking though. So, are we in a museum?
My home is often called the museum. Often, very, very, very often.
There's some pretty cool stuff there.
And then over here on this side of the house, right here, I have my gear, my collection of different gears.
Nice and organized.
Different drums. My own. I also have a collection of like ham radios because I'll use ham radios to record. I have in this other part of the house. Allow me to show you.
Yeah, I like this tour. It's nice. Seeing the gears, a little unknown.
I have this insane hand foot pump organ by Mason and Hamlin, where when you pump it,
I think actually you're not hearing anything because I think Zoom is taking out for some reason. I don't
is
know
it
why.
taking out the audio? You can't hear that.
No, I can. Yeah, I can hear that. I could hear that.
Then I just got my 64 Supro repaired. This amp is kind of like a secret weapon, kind of an incredible thing. That's
Hmm.
the same model that Jimmy Page used. I love my auto harps, but those types of recording devices we're talking about are very simple. It doesn't have any sort of digital filtration. It's approximating the total sound, so you kind of get what you get. You don't really have much of a choice with it. It just sort of like
Honest.
you get what you get, so to speak. And when a band is so good, like Black Sabbath, when they're so good that no matter what the technical constraints are, it
Hmm.
cannot be stopped. I mean, it's an achievement, dude. It's a testament, really. It's a testament to something that's far beyond what mere mortals are able to achieve. Oh, this is my Eagles of Death Metal wall.
Antony retreated
Holy moly, there.
the Alps with the remnants of his army by way of the coast road.
And then my military battle helmet's up above me.
Describes as Antony at his best.
Do you get those on tour or something, or just collect them from shops? And
I've collected them from around, different places on tour. Some of them, like Riot Police, have given me some of their helmets.
yeah,
Military soldiers have given me some of their helmets. This is my actual tactical helmet right there, complete with headphones that I use when I'm doing, you know, hilarious fucked up like airsoft battle or real tactical training, which I love to do.
Yeah. So what about the Roman one? How could you skip over that one?
Oh yeah, of course. Well,
Tell me
there's the
about
Greek
that.
one. This is Greek.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is Roman right here.
Yeah.
And then this is French, 12th century.
Nice.
And then those are some trophy heads. There's a bighorn sheep and an antelope. And then that wheel in sign right there, if you see the big wheel in sign at the top, that's from Pee Wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, wow. You're quite a collection there.
I mean, I have some interesting things too. I'm a big Ralph Bakshi collector. So I have a collection of like Family Guy. This is from the Family Guy Star Wars episode. This is a gel print from Warner Brothers. These are my Lord of the Rings animation cells. Like this right here, another Lord of the Rings animation cell.
Oh.
Another Family Guy Star Wars episode animation cell. I love things like that.
Those are some fantastic collections, yeah.
I mean, I have some. Who directed Kids? What's that dude's name again? Larry. I just discovered. I still don't know who gave it to me, but I have a Larry. What is his name? Oh my God! Why can I not remember his name? But I'll find these like highly valuable pictures of different artists. Here's one of my favorites, my Billy Barty autographed photograph. I love Billy Barty. He was in so many great movies. And then, of course, here's the engagement photos of my beautiful wife, which I love to show off right here.
Very nice. Those were from some series. You took a picture. You guys took a picture together, right? Too that you shared. Yeah.
Yeah, we took that with George Reed. George Reed is an incredible. This is my first place trophy from the Mint 400 that I'm very, very proud of.
What was that? I don't know what the Mint. What is that?
Have you ever seen Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas?
Yeah. I just saw it the other night. I watched it again. I love that movie.
You know the race that he goes and covers?
Yeah.
That's the Mint 400.
It's like a desert race?
Yeah, it's an endurance race. It's a 300-mile endurance race.
300 miles? Oh, a long time in the desert.
That's right, buddy.
That's insane. Oh, how long ago was that?
3 years ago. I'll be doing it again this year.
Yeah.
We're the first, like a lot of times they have what's called a star car. So
Yeah.
James Garner's raced in it. Steve McQueen's raced in it. We're the first star car that ever won. Very proud. That's awesome.
That's pretty neat. What an eclectic collection of stuff you have. That's pretty cool.
You know, but you know, it used to just be stacked in places covered in dust. Thanks to my wife who literally put all of this shit up herself.
That was gonna be my question. How organized are you now? Because it definitely looks really nice. And I don't remember if you had everything set that way before.
No, it was mostly just sort of piled everywhere. No, it's insanely organized. Oh, and one more thing I'll show you is my autographed Muhammad Ali fight program from when he was Cassius Clay right here.
Wow, it is like a museum in your house.
Also, a lot of fan art, a lot of like hilarious fan art that I get. That's really just my groovy Ghoul magazine fan art, which I love. Other weird fan art that people will draw of me. My family photo of my mom, my dad, and my brother. And then the clowns, if you can see the clowns right here, which I love.
Yeah, are those from anybody in particular or just?
My sister's, it's her uncle. And then, of course, the Michael Jackson.
Classic photo.
Yeah, the lover's photo is what I call it. Like anyone who sees that and doesn't realize that Michael Jackson and E.T. were boyfriend and boyfriend is insane. I have a whole theory That's actually very based in a lot of. I'm not the only one who thinks this. Some very renowned and respected psychologists and psychiatric doctors have the same concept, but that essentially ET is a child predator's homage. I
Really?
will ruin your childhood, and I can ruin a lot of things for you when I get deep into the sorts of movies that Steven Spielberg actually makes.
Huh. Oh, it wouldn't ruin it for me.
Well, ET is
I will have to look it up. Yeah, that's pretty crazy,
basically
though.
ET is the love story between Elliot and ET. Jurassic Park is the love story between Dr. Grant and Timmy. I mean, if you look at movies like AI, artificial intelligence, that's literally the story of a robot Pinocchio going in search of the blue fairy with the help of a robot whore and a talking teddy bear.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet, and I don't even think I saw Jurassic Park. A lot of those movies I haven't even seen.
You got to see Jurassic Park, but ET in the storybook, the album storybook from which that poster comes, narrated by Michael Jackson, and people tend to fetish the things they relate to the most. The opening statement is ET is the story of a man left behind by his own people. He is rescued by the love of a young boy. It's a very strange thing to say. And what happens when ET gets excited? His neck grows. And you're going to tell me that in any period of time there were anybody, day one of storyboards, that didn't see that as two dicks touching? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I did.
I mean, who in their right mind would think that? If you actually go back, and where do they hide ET? They hide him in the closet. When does
Okay, yeah, I
ET?
get that.
When
That's
does
pretty funny.
ET leave? He only leaves when he's in drag. How does Elliot get ET into the closet? He lures him with a trail of candy. When do ET and Elliot bond? They bond when Elliot is in class and ET is at home drinking Coors and he's watching TV. They psychically bond. And then when Maureen O'Hara and John Wayne kiss in the scene from The Quiet Man, Elliot and ET bond. Elliot frees all the frogs. He steps on the back of the bully, kisses the girl at the same time ET's watching John Wayne kiss Maureen O'Hara. The camera pans down between the girl's legs, her toes pigeon in, and all the frogs jump through her legs. That's a spawning sequence. That's a symbolic spawning sequence. So
I gotta go
essentially,
back and watch that again now.
ET and Elliot bond over a shared romantic experience. And then ET basically gets AIDS. That's what when he's dying, and that's
Okay.
when you have statements like "You're killing him. No one understands our love." All the children free him, and I don't know if you know this, but there's a statistical amount of evidence as to the things that child predators use to manipulate children. And Peter Pan is one of the number one symbolic allegories that child predators use because of the lost boys, the boys that never grew up.
Right.
Um, uh, these sorts of things. Literally to the sound of we can fly, all the children fly away with ET. The bad guys in ET are parents, adults, and general authorities. They are. And
Right.
when ET's dying, he's getting AIDS. They escape. They get back to his ship. And even though ET looks like a child frog, he's an adult male technician on a space exploration ship. And
I thought I
ET,
looked like a pork chop myself.
yeah. But Elliot says, you should stay with me. I could be good for you. And then ET says, don't worry, Elliot. I'll be right here. Does he point to his heart? No, he points to his head. What the fuck does that mean?
In one of the most uncompromising works
A lot to think about. I never.
And, some people will say you're getting too deep into it. No, I don't think I'm getting any deeper into the symbolism than Steven Spielberg is because he's a Stanley Kubrick. Steven Spielberg is a Stanley Kubrick symbols obsessed director. Everything has got symbolic meaning. Most of his movies tend to be involving children in adult situations, bonding with adults. I mean, on his watch, Drew Barrymore became a crackhead at the age of 9.
Yeah.
That's some kind of permissiveness going there on the stage. He's a brilliant director, but he he's got some interesting depth to him, I think. And since at the time of ET's making in the community, uh, the aliens, the extraterrestrials, were how that community referred to themselves. Nobody understands us. We're the aliens. Here, I'm going to
Right.
walk up the stairs because my wife keeps texting me, "Who's here at the house?" She thinks someone's here at the house. I'm going to let her know. And I love being able to say that I'm going up to talk to my wife. It's one of my favorite things.
Glad I could be part of that.
I'm doing an interview with my friend Sean right now. Say hello to my beautiful wife in bed.
Oh my God.
Oh my God! Hello. Like it's dark. Tell her totally dark. You couldn't even.
Couldn't see anything, babe.
It's just totally dark. I'll cut that if you want.
Okay, baby.
So she should brain you later. I'll cut that out.
Yeah, she was like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah, tell her I will edit that part out. It will not make air. I
If
didn't
you
know
want
that.
to,
Yeah.
side note, this is an old radio. This is the old microphone. That's the old speaker, and this is the.
Does any of that work for you? Like I've had some old, not anymore. I've moved from a lot. I used to have some old audio equipment myself, reel to reels and stuff, but a lot of it didn't work.
You
This stuff
have
that
to
actually
really,
works.
you have to get so obsessed because you can't just repair. Like here, I'll show you one of the reels to reel. It's still taped up for packing. But the thing about reel to reels or any older technology, even as you get past, this is an Otari mastering board
Yeah.
from the 70s. And but the thing about any old gear is you can't just repair the gear. You have to consider like, okay, what was the power gridding structure at the time it was created? What type of gear was it created to work optimally with? So, for example, if you repair like an old reel to reel from the 60s and plug it in, you're using a system that was designed to draw a different sort of power on a different type of electrodes. I mean, most things are interpretive based. It's a virtual interpretation of something or approximation of something. So it doesn't really require that much power. So you're not going to get that much power out of it. You might get a simulation of volume, but you're not going to get
Right.
any real depth. We're talking about devices that have real volume to them, that were being compressed. Like if you look at how albums were made, the secret to sounds of like things like the Beach Boys or secret, they recorded all the music as a single track. That was called the backing track. Then the vocals were all recorded as a separate thing that were mixed. And then those two things were mixed together into a quarter inch or a 2-track master. So you're going from 24 tracks and compressing down into a 2-track master. That's a lot of compression. That's a lot of taking something that's infinitely big at its source and pushing it down and pushing it down. It's going to become very thick and compact. Whereas in modern recording, there's not so much compression taking place as there is stacking and building things our first album, for example, is considered our most raw, but it probably was our most produced because we had to simulate analog recording, and it's not impossible. Digital recording is very icy. It's very precise. Analog is it's like the difference between when you look at a Monet from a distance, it looks photorealistic, and as you get close to it, it's just little dots. That's more like analog, whereas digital is more like a photograph. So for us to approximate analog, instead of being able to have a single microphone on a single performance the way the Beatles would, they're using microphones that were meant to record entire orchestras with a single microphone on a single performance. We would microphone a single performance to 17 different tracks. 17 different types of microphones, 18 different types of microphones being placed on a single performance and then mixed as a single performance before it even gets to the final mix, which is then going to be mixed and then mixed even further into and compressed into a single master track. You know, there's a lot of work, but it fundamentally breaks down into understanding. And to get back what we're talking about, when you're talking about old gear, you really have to be aware of what, a certain type of reel to reel player was never meant to just be used. It was normally meant to be used with a certain type of receiver or meant to be used with a certain type of microphone or part of a system. There's one studio called Valentine Studio here in LA that still has all of the gear that was meant to work with itself still in use. So it makes it a unique studio, as opposed to going to a studio that may have a Studer 24 track tape machine, but it's being run into a digital board, that's being run into this, all these things are not really meant to work with each other, and they kind of have to be translated into one another, especially when you're talking about power sourcing. A lot of times, like with your reel to reel players, like even I just had a couple of amps repaired and I had the entire power transistors modified so that I could plug them in to a modern power source and still be able to draw the same sort of power. Sometimes you need to get a power conditioner, or which is essentially a device you plug into the wall and it builds up a bunch of power into a distributor that you then plug into. And now you're getting, I mean, there are certain recording boards like people often talk about the Neve, the classic Neve. But if you have a Neve and you want to get just a single channel repaired, it's probable that you're going to need an EPA write-off just to get an estimate because of the amount of lead required to repair it.
Really?
Big transistors, big amounts of lead, all these things are big and they physically take bigger power, whereas opposed to a modern machine, everything is micro. Everything has been miniaturized. Everything has been shrunk down and deposited into a much smaller frame. That's why you look at when you look at like any old recording equipment, you'll see massive stainless steel or solid steel like construction holding frames or frameworks. I mean, even the bodies, even like just the physical body of a tube tuner from the 50s or 60s is massive. It's big, it's heavy, it's filled with lead, it's filled with heavy metals. And that goes into the warmth. That's one of the reasons why they have, we have these phrases like warmth of sound or texture, warmth of texture, because you're literally physically working with big things. Those devices I just showed you, I've had to like really get tricky in how I power them and how I have them repaired. Things like the rubber bands and shit will get dried out. You're not just going to go find a rubber band with the same tension. It's probably something you might even have to generate yourself somehow and approximate, because you're not going to find those spare parts. Everything was made proprietary, just like an iPhone, used to be with the proprietary power source, that it wasn't just a USB-C. And even if even with iPhones, sometimes you can get a USB-C cable and it doesn't quite work the same as an iPhone
No,
USB-C cable,
no.
because it's drawing a different sort of power, and it's precisely tuned to a whole different animal. You can't. I mean, you can get away with doing certain things, but you're going to hear it sometimes, especially in recording. You're going to hear a buzz. There's going to be a little bit of noise bleeding through. Sometimes that noise is what makes something so beautiful. Sometimes that noise is what contributes to its warmth or its grit. I mean, when I record, sometimes I build that warmth in by 2 or 3 tracks that are just noise that you can't hear. It's just white noise that I make as a pad to sort of glue everything together.
So you're not hearing it. It's just in your mind.
Well, consider this. It's like there's a track by Billy Ward and his Dominoes called Stardust. Sometimes I wonder. It's in Goodfellas. It's the first time you see the adult Henry, the song that's playing. Well, when that song was recorded, one microphone was used to record it.
Mhm.
But you've got a chorus of singers, you've got instrumentation. How do you separate those in a mono recording? Well, one trick that was used is one of the vocalists in the chorus is singing intentionally slightly out of tune, so that his out of tuneness made all the voices separate. So you
Oh
could
yeah,
hear
yeah,
them.
yeah.
John Lennon, very famously, when he was a kid, when his aunt would come watch him, his aunt Cynthia, he would detune his D string so she would know which guitarist he was in the mix.
That I
Because
didn't know.
a bad note will stick out like a sore thumb, but if it's a precisely tuned wrong note, not a bad note, but a wrong note, then you're creating the appearance of separation when there is none. I mean, a mono recording is a single speaker where you can hear everything. There's a big difference in listening to the mono mix of something as opposed to listening to the stereo mix, which is a simulation of stereophonic sound. Using two speakers, getting the appearance of three dimensions of sound. In a mono mix, you're looking at it all at once. In a stereo mix, you've basically got right, left, front, back, top, bottom.
Mhm.
And if you're clever enough at mixing in the right stereo mix, you can literally hear where the vocals sound like they're on top. You can literally hear where parts of it are on the right side, parts of it are on the left side, parts that are on the bottom. Some of it's up front and some of it sounds like it's far back. That's the appearance of three dimensions. It's that's what stereophonics are. It's a deception. I mean, not a deception because it's not intentionally trying to deceive you. It's trying to simulate the appearance of three dimensions of sound in your physical presence. And then again, you would have to look at what the listening medium was. The reel to reel machines that we were referencing earlier, like the ones you were talking about, those were probably designed to be listened to through a certain type of speakers. In the 70s, it was big over the ear headphones. In the 80s, it was the little sound loss headphones. Now it's ear pods and surround systems. The medium through which you're going to listen to it will affect everything greatly. If you're listening to something that was meant to be listened to on an FM or an AM radio, listening to it in an earbud, if it isn't being accounted for, you're going to have all kinds of, it may not sound the same. It may not sound as good. I mean, FM songs, most of the songs in the 70s and 80s were recorded not to be listened to in your house. They were recorded to be listened to on an FM radio in your car.
Car.
I mean, even to this day, we still do something called the car test. We will still mix songs and then go sit in the car and
Mhm.
see how they sound there. Because that's where a lot of people are going to listen. That's where the best stereos are. I mean, some of the best stereos are in cars. The cassette tape was designed to work optimally in a car. I mean, even to this day, the superior listening format is not vinyl; it's 8-track. 8-track is in terms of decibel for decibel sound quality. 8-track tape is the finest playback source. It's a big, physically big playback source that was designed to work on physically big playback heads that were designed to be played and amplified through physically big amplifiers with physically big components into physically big speakers, not small speakers with powerful drivers. That's another big difference. You right now in modern headphones, and we've returned to the over-the-ear headphone. If you notice, even the
Yeah.
modern iPhone headphones are over the ear. We've returned to that, but in some of the speakers I have, which are insanely good, they have massive, powerful magnets that are drawing a massive amount of power. In my speakers, it's not so much about the driver; it's
Mhm.
about the size, the virtual size of the magnet itself, so it can physically handle all the power I'm pumping through it. And you can hear the difference. There's some things that you'll listen to when you turn it up loud, it breaks up and it gets shitty. And some things you're able to crank and just keep cranking and it doesn't break up, it just gets louder. Which is
Yeah.
why some songs are mixed. We mix our songs to be listened to loud. So as you turn them up, they don't break up, they don't distort, they just get louder. The Rolling Stones did this. Creedence Clearwater Revival did this. Um, with
Is there a
the
downside to that? Like if you have it too quiet, you don't hear anything.
Well,
Like there's
you'll
so
hear
much.
less. You'll hear less, or you might hear more singular performances. If you try this test at home, it's one that I recommend. Take a song, and you need some decent speakers, and turn it down to where it barely competes with your vocals, your own talking, just your own room talking voice,
Mhm.
and then so it forces you to strain. You'll hear performances you've never heard before. You'll hear something leap out at you like, oh wow, I can hear this one acoustic guitar leap out. Wow, oh I've never heard this background vocal before. Like for example, if you listen to "You're So Vain" by Carly Simon, most people on initial listen don't realize that Keith Richards and Mick Jagger are singing backup. But if you turn it down to the test, the spoken voice test, and listen to it, all of a sudden Mick Jagger's vocals jump out at you and you're like, oh my God, how did I never notice this before? With
Yeah,
the Beatles, when you listen to certain Beatles songs, when you hear I Buried Paul, or you listen to things, there's a lot of interesting things with the dynamic of sound that you can be experimented with just by classical recordings, like Third Stone from the Sun by Jimi Hendrix. That was recorded to be modified on a reel to reel that allowed you to go from one speed to the next speed. Or if it was on 40 on 33 and a third RPM, if you take Are You Experienced on 33 and a third RPM vinyl and you turn it up to 45, you suddenly hear a dialogue. Third Stone from the Sun is a dialogue between a spaceship and Mission Control. Mission Control is performed by Mitch Mitchell, and Jimi Hendrix is, and he's talking about how I'm passing the third stone from the sun. I see no signs of intelligent life. And Mitch Mitchell's like going, "This is Mission Control." All you hear is barely in the actual
right.
recording. Backmasking, which is some people, I don't think anyone understands what backmasking is. Some people think it's a natural satanic phenomena that takes place when you listen to rock and roll music and you play it backwards, a satanic message comes out. No, that's literally something they're doing on purpose. When you play something backwards or you flip something backwards, it creates a noise that can become a pad that will glue the song together. So that when you play the actual song backwards or speed it up and slow it down, then you'll hear something. Like there's certain albums that you can put the album on and then back it up from there, and there's a track in the header that you never even knew was there.
Oh.
And the Beatles did it quite a bit. In the Beatles, you can actually hear messages that they're saying, Paul is dead, miss him, miss him. Paul is dead, miss him, miss him. You'll hear that clearly. If it's true backmasking, it doesn't sound like that's not true backmasking. That's just phonetic similarities taking place because language played forward or backward is going to have similarities. Something that I've experimented with that I want to do a whole track with is to sing a verse, flip it backwards, and then speak it exactly as I'm hearing it backwards, sing that, and then flipping that backwards so that it turns back into English again. It's a lot of process for an artistic effect, but one to me that's interesting, a lot of artists too will experiment with, and Stevie Wonder's a big one for doing this. And actually, this is true of a lot of artists. A lot of artists, the Beatles did this. They would record a track, like say back in the USSR, and they'd record it in a key and at a speed that's very slow. They'd record it at a low key. Then they speed the whole up when they're done recording it and sing to that. And you can discover this in the White Album anniversary release that came out most recently. They have a series of bonus tracks, and one of them is the backing track for Back in the USSR. When you listen to it, it's slower and it's at a lower key, and that kind of reveals the secret. Been away. If you sang it with it, it'd be like, "Been away so long, I hardly knew the place. Gee, it's good to." It's called elfing. Then you speed it up, and it makes everything come together. It makes everything suck together. Then you sing to that. If you listen to Dolly Parton's Jolene, if you listen to the way it's released, she's got this beautifully sheeny voice. Then if you slow it down to 33 and a third, it sounds like a whole new song. The reality is that it was probably recorded at closer to 33 and a third, and then the whole thing was sped up. James Brown famously listened to his master. When he would get in the studio, they'd bust out a master acetate, and he'd go listen to it on his private phonograph. His private phonograph it's probably going to sound tinny, but if you take a single Marshall cabinet and put a microphone on one speaker only, then you're probably going to get your big sound. Eagles of Death Metal, we never use anything bigger than a 10-inch speaker on a practice amp. And 9 times out of 10, I'm using what's the Zinke made cigarette pack amp. I don't know if you've ever seen those, but it's as big as a cigarette pack, and you plug it in, it runs on a 9-volt battery, and it's got a little speaker in it. That thing will actually is engineered so amazingly well, it will power a Marshall cabinet. I also use something called magnetic film readers, which were devices that were used in the 70s and 80s when they would be filming a television show. They would take all the tracks and run it to a little speaker. So there's like 6 inputs, and there's a tiny little speaker, so you could mix it for what the average television speaker was going to sound like. That's what we use, and we get massive sound out of it because we're letting the other gear do what it's supposed to do instead of overwhelming. If all you're doing is going in with big shit and turning it up, you're just going to overwhelm everything, and it's going to be a nightmare. It's going to be impossible to mix. It's going to be impossible to do anything with it. It's just going to be in the red. Just because something's in the red on your VU meter doesn't mean it's loud, and it doesn't mean it's big. It just means it's overwhelming. And understanding that difference is the key. It's the key difference between, say, a garage recording. I mean, Ween recorded their album The Pod on that Tascam home studio, but you can't tell
No.
because they understood with the medium of what they were using and how to apply the sound to the magnetic tape. You can't tell that we're using little tiny speakers in the studio because we're using little tiny speakers, but we have big sound. A lot like when we released our covers album, our most recent covers album, like 5 years ago, I recorded half of that on GarageBand. You can't tell.
No.
There's a reason for that. I guess that's where there's a lot of magicians running around with really incredible tricks, but then there's wizards, and wizards do real magic. I've always wanted to be a wizard.
Wow. That's some really cool stuff. And thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Definitely, I really appreciate that. It's really a nice, lots of I learned I didn't know. This is fantastic.
It's
I do wanna
actually
thank you.
fascinating and very entertaining and just very fulfilling and fun to just even a fraction of the things that I was talking about right now. You can
Yeah.
experiment with these yourself in a variety with all kinds of different things. Just for the sheer purpose of understanding what happens when I do this. It's always an experiment. I recommend people just to start experimenting things. What happens if I move the mic away? What happens if I turn the gain up? What happens if I go direct? What happens if I'm recording a performance, if there's a guitarist performing and I have a microphone on an amplifier, but I'm also running a separate line of the same performance direct? And what happens if I mix the two together before I even put it into the mix? What happens if I record an entire track of just and then record over that or add it into my recording in the mix? What's the difference in the mix? What happens when I turn everything down to where it's barely audible over my own speaking voice? And what do I hear then as opposed to what I hear when I turn it all the way up? These are practical experiments that will really enrich your understanding of recorded sound.
Well, now you've also upped your A game, so every time we talk now, we're gonna have to get a little nerdy now.
I like these conversations with you, my friend.
I like them too.
Let's do it soon, brother.
And chat with me too, and send me a text. All right, let's talk.
You got it, brother. I love you, dude.
Okay, bye bye.